We'll give it a second for everybody to join in here, and then we can kick this thing off. Oh, wait.
Hey, Aaron, I don't know if I've shown you this before. I got a Sadia. I got a crown, a tallest crown ring made before.
Oh, wow.
Nice. How'd you do that? Where'd you get it made?
I found a jeweler.
Oh, you went to a jeweler, like a
Yeah, a
artisan.
friend of mine, a friend of mine's neighbor is actually a jeweler, so this is actually made of like sterling silver.
That's so cool.
That's
I
cool.
got two made.
That's very cool. Right on.
Yes. Interesting. How about now? Still? How about now? Same? Unchanged? Did you not? Yeah. For me, it seems to be okay. Is the sound okay? Okay.
I think so. Of course, it's the music stream that ends up with the audio problems.
Naturally.
Of course. That's how it works. All right. Here we go. Welcome to this digital meeting, everybody. Hi. I'm Justin. I'm joined by the amazing Aaron Ehasz and Frederik Wiedmann, who's our composer, and Andy Poon, and one of our art directors, on this lovely Wednesday morning. So thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. I know that some people should be at work, but you're joining us instead. So thank you. Cool. So for those of you who haven't been to these, this is our digital crew meeting. They're a part of the Kickstarter process, and they will continue forward. If you were a member of the of one of the $100 here or above, you will get the to do more of these meetings with us. But this is open to everybody, as this was announced during the actual campaign. So what we do for these is we in the chat, if you have an idea or a thought or a brainstorm or something that you want us to see, or like a question, put in the letters TDK before you put your question or whatever, and that way when we go back and look at the chat logs, we can actually see your information, to see the data, so that we don't have to actually track it live because it moves very quickly.
But we do look at it live. It's just that it's like it can go so fast that you miss things. So part of it is we're trying to like make sure that we're managing the ability to interact given the number of people and given kind of that scope of this digital meeting, which has over 200 people in it. So we'll try to keep up with the chat. But as we specifically talk about the show or pitch ideas for the show, or you have ideas or things that you want to make sure are reviewed later, put TDK first, and it'll be in the log when we have it later. So we don't want to miss it. I hope that was
Yeah, awesome. So maybe you guys want to do a quick little chat about yourselves, or just say who you are. I'll start with Freddie, just because he's first on my screen, but not in my heart.
I am.
Oh,
I'm Frederik Wiedmann, composer of 7 glorious seasons of The Dragon Prince. It's been just absolutely incredible journey for me, starting this so many years ago with this crew, and it's become such a big part of my life. Like I feel like it's so much of me is that show. It's weird because it's been going on for so many years, and I spend all my day in the studio crafting the music, so it's just I'm just in this. Yeah, I'm a film composer. It's all I do, and I love every second of it. I compose music for a bunch of shows, movies, all sorts of things, and I like to surround myself with interesting instruments, interesting musicians, people that do something that I can't necessarily do myself by myself in the studio. That's when I get really excited about stuff. And living in a town like LA, and in general, I mean, with now that you can do Zoom and all that stuff, it's kind of opened up the global world of music recording. I'm working with people from all over the world sending me files and recording stuff, which is fantastic, especially for a show like this where the more exotic you can push it, the better. So the globalization of that has really helped me a lot. And you can see in the behind me, there's a bunch of my toys that I use on a daily basis. I'm not a virtuoso on any of them, but it doesn't stop me from playing around with them to see what I can come up with to do some unique stuff for the show or other shows. And yeah, you're looking at my home studio, and I'm basically in here all the time, just like a mad scientist.
That's right. It's awesome. We've been there a couple times. It's a very cool
Yeah,
studio. Um,
cozy.
Andy, who are you? What are you doing? What's cracking?
I'm Andy. I love to draw. um, I guess I've been with you guys since the very, 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 very beginning.
That's right.
Since development, and then got that going. You guys didn't hate my drawings in the very beginning. So yeah, and then I worked through season 1 and 2, and then I stepped back a little bit. I couldn't sue in the background. So this is kind of almost like sending my kids to kindergarten school before. Now I came back there, grown up, now at college years, and they moved back home to me and asked me to feed them. Um,
Nice.
no, this is awesome. Like you guys are super collaborative. It's not often we always have creators that are so open for for inviting the artists and just everybody in the crew to kind of to jam.
What do you mean
And
by that? What is more typical? What do you experience normally? Because again, you've worked on a ton of rooms at
and
Bardell, other places.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
more
So I mean,
typical and how does Dragon Prince compare?
right.
And what do you think the results are as a result of that?
Right. Yeah, so maybe to explain a little bit. So I'm located in Vancouver. I worked at Bardell Entertainment in Vancouver, Canada. And we have collaborated throughout the seasons. A lot of times when we deal with creators, especially creators in from like LA, often they come to us and kind of in almost a much more from an execution standpoint. Like this is the marching order, and you guys, studios, animators, designers, just kind of follows. So it's quite a fresh breath of air. To have creators like you guys who ask me, ask the storyboard artists, ask the designers, ask the animators, like about not just like ideas from their specific department, but ideas in general, how it impacts like the overall, storytelling of things. And there's many times I've sent a design, you guys like, oh, we like this, we don't like that. Oh, that's cool. We'll incorporate into um part of the narrative of things, and then you guys would send us back ideas that would kind of inspire us to adjust our design. So it's much more fluid than a lot of the typical production creative relationship.
So I'm going to ask you to speculate. Why do you think we do that? Is it because we're just like nice talkative people? Is it because we have no ideas of our own, so we're just like, oh, we have an open process. If anybody has anything to tell, why do you think we do that in a different way?
I would be lying if I would say Aaron and Justin, you guys have no idea, because you guys are definitely very clear on to have a specific vision, both aesthetic, like visual aesthetic, and also story writing telling wise. But I think you guys just always, because you guys are so care about storytelling so much, and you guys understand that like it's not everything just like whatever you guys already came up with. It's the final thing. You guys actually open, and sometimes you will ask us about ideas, and then it might not work, and you guys like, hey, thanks for the idea, like, but you guys are willing to explore, because you guys, I think, always want to like further and better the story, even stuff that you guys have thought is the right version of it. You guys are open to hear and explore, because you guys understand that like there's always other perspective of storytelling from other people that might adjust or impact what you guys were thinking, or slightly evolve what you guys already thought of. And I think that's a really cool thing. You know, of course, you know, it's a production, so there's the timeline thing, but like I think you guys always like to push, and I think I feel like a lot of shows that are good, but also different. There are shows that are great. It's all because of those little push of those different ideas and areas. That, you know, we are all not just always just satisfied with the first thing that we came up with, and I think that really, you know, elevates things, at least, you know, in our mind, that like, hey, we thought we did our best, but we push it even further, and I think that goes with all aspect of things. I think within the Dragon Prince like universe, like all departments.
I have actually a lot to say about this too, from my perspective. If I can chime in, you know, it's like sometimes when you're working with people that are spearheading a show, you get a very restricted path of assignments, and it's often so limiting to the creative process. You know, it's like a coach telling Michael Jordan, "You can only shoot threes. Don't do anything else." And you're missing out on all the talent he has to do everything else because you're just locking him into this one thing that you think is all you need. But what's great about the Dragon Prince crew, and has been for all the seasons, is this immense creative freedom and trust that we can actually add something different to them that maybe they couldn't think of themselves, and so they're trusting us to bring that out and see what comes out of it. And that to me is the most exciting canvas to paint on, so to speak, because I can just go in and say, well, what would I do if this was the world I'm building with my intuitions and my sensibilities? What can I add to this that maybe wasn't there before, that maybe enhances it, or, you know, puts this sonically in a different place? Especially when you're dealing with a fantasy sci-fi type of property, you have an endless opportunity for world building, and that goes visually as well as musical world building. There's so much you can do. It's not just a period piece, you have to stick to the Baroque instruments, or it's a modern, you know, futuristic thing, you gotta have something more electronic. This is something that is such an invented creative environment, a new world, new countries, new cultures, new languages, new people, new races. Everything about it is so fantasy and new and unknown that you can just do so many different things, and to not let someone that is an expert at what they do explore all that is just, that would be a huge mistake. So, and I think I really appreciate all the creative freedom this team has given me in letting me just play around in this toy box, and then, you know, at the same time pushing me to other places. When I bring something, you know, I often get this, okay, that's good, but let's try, what if we take it further, or what if we do something entirely different here? And I'm always for exploring. So I think that synergy of do what you think is best. Okay, let's take that and we'll see what we can craft out of that we think is best for the show. It's just, I think, creates the absolute best results.
Well, thank you guys. I mean, I think obviously it goes both ways here. We're like, you know, I know I've sent an email which is like, it'll be fine, Freddie will make this magic. Right? Or like, I am not worried about it. Andy's gonna put a cool design here. Like, we have an idea for something, but, you know, sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
No, I was gonna say, or where we add time to a shot or a moment because we want to give Freddie time to play to that emotion.
I'll request editorial changes sometimes.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on to this for a bit longer. My theme isn't finished yet.
Yeah, or on the art side, like I remember when we were designing Soul Regum, and Andy was there helping out, and it was like, can we make his eyes burned and gross without like breaking the? Can we make his face feel like it's mangled and like wrecked without breaking the rating of the show? And like what he came back with was what you see. It's like, it's such a cool, crazy, iconic image of that dragon and what happened to him. So yeah, I mean, it's super collaborative, and it's super fun to work with you guys, because I always feel like even if we end up going in a slightly different direction, the stuff we get back is just so cool and crazy. I mean, there's many times where we'll get stuff back and we'll be like, oh, we could use that somewhere else. It's like, oh, it's not quite right for this, but like, let's save that design, or let's use that piece of music or whatever in some other specific location, rather than, you know, oh, it gets thrown out. Like almost everything gets reused or recycled somehow, which is really, really cool. Maybe as an audio break, just for a second, I wanted to show you guys the original, what we sent to, this is what we'll do. Like we'll oftentimes send Freddie a locked cut of a trailer or a scene or whatever. Sometimes it's, it'll be like it'll be animated, but it won't be like rendered. This is actually rendered, but we'll send that to him, and it'll have temp music on it. Like in the case of now, because Freddie has built like an enormous suite of music, we can go back and pick from our own music and be like, maybe something like this. Go ahead, Aaron.
And when we say we, I mean, very often what you're talking about with the temp track is the animatic editor or someone who's directing the animatic uses some of that temp music, whether it's something older that they've seen in the show or something else they've drawn from, as a way to tell the story, as a storytelling tool, to say it should feel like this and the pace should be like this, or an idea. And again, it's just an idea. It's taking a stab at it because we trust that it's going to go to Freddie and he's going to find the way to the final. But it's another one of the kind of storytelling tools and storytelling partners on the way to getting what we get.
So let me show you a little bit here of what this looked like with the original temp track, and then I'll show you what the final was, which you've seen, which came out. So hold on, let's see if this tech is going to work given our starting place here. Hold on one second, let's try this. This one, this one, this one. All right. So the reason you heard the crying there at the end is I had actually cut in a different Kickstarter logo from a different trailer. So the crying was not ever intended to be like that. It was from a different thing. But you can hear it's obviously Freddie's pieces of music. It's the original. I don't know. It's the original score, obviously, and then I'm not sure what the second one comes from. Freddie, do you know? Do you off the top of your head?
Do you mean the cello thing at the end?
No, the thing with after it transitions is to the inside. What piece is that where it goes around the crown? I'm not sure.
I've written so many pieces.
Yeah. So that's another piece. So, but before you forget what that sounded like, now listen to how dope this sounds when Freddie puts his magic on it. So hold on, this is the actual trailer. So hold on one second, and I will share this piece. And here we go. There we go. Go. Yep. Oh, okay. Did it not work? All right, let's try it again. Thanks, Discord. Hold on one second. All right, so let me stop this. Let me roll it back. Let me reopen it just to make double sure here. How about, hold on. Let me try this. This one, this one, this one. Okay. All right. I'm assuming that worked. So you can see how much more awesome that is, obviously, with Freddie putting some stank on it, is what I would say.
Well, there was an opportunity here in this particular clip. The temp obviously was from Dragon Prince, the original, which had the themes from that. So now we're in a new era. So it starts off with the new Dragon King theme, and then it morphs into a hint of the old Dragon Prince theme. And then on the throne, we have a hint of the what we use in the end credits of the old season, and then it goes back to the Dragon King. So it's kind of it journeys through sort of the legacy of it and then ends back on the new place. And it's fun things like this that I can do, when I'm just crafting it from scratch because I'm able to go through all these incarnations of different melodies and then have a payoff at the end, which is it might be all subconscious and subliminal at the end, but I think it works great.
I think visually we did something similar too. Because I think previously when we see the Stormspire set, I think a lot of it was like sunset was much like darker orange, and then I think at some point we're like it's kind of like a new era of the kingdom and new king, and so it should be more like a sunrise. It's a new age, and then also where the throne is interior. It's we because I think we talked a while like, hey, like which part of the Stormspire where the throne should be, and I think there's something cool about like it's like a new version, a repurpose of the kind of like what Freddie said about the music. Like there's the old, but then this is also new. So I think we did something similar visually as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was so exciting to get this stuff back and start to hear new music and all that stuff. It was really, really cool. So, um, somebody was asking in the chat, I just scrolled past it, but what do you have ideas, Freddie, for where you want to go with TDK? Like, are there ideas or things that you've thought of that that you want to push or whatever in the score for the upcoming stuff?
I mean, I definitely I want a whole bunch of new melodies because we need, sort of to have the music grow up with the characters, and that the other big thing that comes with that is I think all of it can be a little bit more dark and adult and possibly, you know, more serious because they're grown up now, and I think that's something that'll probably have to happen with the score. But that, you know, a lot of that depends on the story, where the characters go, and what they're gonna, which problems they're gonna try to solve, and all that. But you know, I've explored God knows how many instruments for season 1 through 7, and there's so many more to go through. So I will keep experimenting and keep exploring new ways and different ways to do things, and you know, it, I mean, I could spend every day discovering new instruments, and I would probably do it for the rest of my life because that's how many things there are out there. So that's one thing I'll continue to do, and hopefully we can just have something that continues, but also feels like it's different than what we've done before.
Cool. I have one more. I have my own question, and then I can open up to these guys. But this is going back a little bit. But what was it like doing the sea shanty which is a little different from the other stuff that we've done, right? Like what was that like for you in Mystery of Erebos?
Oh, that was so fun. I mean, you know, all these like oddballs. If you're looking at the Bait and his crew singing on the boat, the, you know, the serenade for Rayla and Callum, that was fun.
Yeah,
Um, and the when Corvus plays the cello or whatever, that instrument that is cello reminiscent, when we had to create something that had to have been written in this environment, in this culture, that doesn't sound like Bach or doesn't sound like Mozart or anything like that. So all those challenges you guys throw at me, they're always probably more fun than anything else because I really get to do something different. So yeah, the sea shanty was one of those. I mean, you know, we had some great lyrics to go with, and I think there was a bunch of back and forth in terms of how fast and the tempo of it all, because that, you know, that the scene it goes with had to match what was happening dramatically. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. You know, I love going down that rabbit hole and researching things like this, like what do other sea shanties sound like, what instruments do they use to accompany it, if it's a hurdy-gurdy or accordion, like what is it, you know, and sort of to figure
jerk
all that
face
out.
dance is
Yeah,
what you're.
exactly, that too. That
Um,
too.
I guess
This
for
is
both of you, a question. Sorry, Aaron, and then I'll shut up. Question that I never really thought of before, but like, well, I think when Aaron and I are sitting around just pontificating and coming up with story, no, but like when we're talking about the world and stuff, obviously we're trying to make something that's interesting and different and feels like it's Zadia, right, and fits the magic and stuff. But like, I never really thought about it until you just said it. Like, well, this can't sound like Bach, right? Like this can't sound like somebody you've heard before, like or for Andy, same thing, which is like this can't be a design that you've seen before, or even if it is reminiscent of a design you've seen before, it needs to be different. I've never really thought about the like, oh shit, like how are we going to change this up and make it interesting? I think that's a really fascinating thing, especially with like, oh my god, this has to be different and it's using the same instruments, but it has to feel different. I think that's really interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I think one of like in the very very beginning when we during early development, I think one of the first thing I did wasn't even drawing the full characters or anything like that, but I think I did some very quick exploration of what some of like the motifs on like Catalyst and I think the Moon Shadow Elves and some of the elves of like just like lines, and I think quite early on we arrived at like Catalyst is represented by a little bit of like Celtic but like very angular kind of interweave kind of geometric lines, and then the Moon Shadow Elves have these um more or like curves, like definitely echoes like the shapes of the moon, the lunar stuff, but have these like sharper points because they're assassins. Like I think it's almost like some shortcuts to like what are get to like what are some of the culture, like how do they represent themselves, and those kind of becomes like almost a I don't know music at all, Freddie, but like almost like the very base like layer of like what their DNA is, and I think a lot of that, then from those simple lines and shapes that spawns like the costume, like what do they tailor their like outfits to, both based on those graphic shapes, but also like the usage of their culture, like assassins they need to move, but also within that, like we need something that is familiar with to the audience, that like they do recognize that, like, oh, these kind of shapes represent certain types of culture, or type of society, that they're familiar, but also feels more like it's fantasy. It's not just like directly ripped from a specific culture from our world kind of thing. So kind of what Freddie was talking
we're
about.
using instruments from literally everywhere and mixing them all together without any regard of where they come from or who which culture they originated from in any case, because I'll play an African flute over a Chinese string instrument anytime in the show and not even think about it twice, because we don't need to be very specific about anything globally, ethnically, or culturally, musically speaking. It should be a blend. In fact, I'll go even further. I don't know if you guys have seen some of these Charlie Puth videos where he's taking like a finger snap and he's making a whole song out of it
Yeah.
from scratch. That's I do that kind of stuff all the time. So I'll record these things behind me and other stuff, and I'll pitch it down, stretch it. I'll put it in a sampler so I can play it in different ways, and I do that kind of stuff on a daily basis, just to see what else it can be rather than its original state. And that is especially effective and cool when you do that with ethnic instruments, because they suddenly sound altered and distorted, so you don't even know what it is anymore. So that's when things get really exciting, when you dive into audio manipulation and you start to mess around with that, and cool things come out of it. It's just you know it's an amazing era we live in, where music technology has come to this place where it's fairly easy to make all those modifications. You no longer have to record it on tape and then slow the tape down and then cut it, and that's what they used to have to do to make one little different thing. Now you can just process everything digitally and try it, and if it doesn't work, try something else. And it's just wonderful to be able to do that.
Is there any tech that you've gotten? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Aaron, and then I can ask my tech question.
I'm going to ask a question that's coming from the chat a little bit.
Yeah.
So Nunu has commented, when Viren dies, music peaked. When you are greeted with a scene like that, how do you approach, and you know that there's a culmination and a feeling, how do you approach that? How do you, I guess, what's your process getting in a place where you can, I just imagine there's a lot that goes into, so that when that moment happens and this character passes on, that we feel it. We feel the bottom drop out, or we feel whatever it is you want us to feel. Like, how do you approach a moment, and maybe specifically, how did you approach Viren's death scene?
Okay, so that's interesting. That was pointed out, because that is, to this day, still one of my favorite cues of the entire 7 seasons. I don't know how many cues I've written, but I keep coming back to this one when I listen to it myself, and I don't listen to my own music much beyond the point of its completion. But that one, I somehow get back to, because I really think that's one of the strong ones of the whole show. And it's an interesting thing. Like, I'm not sure I can pinpoint it as to like a deconstructing the process of how I created it. I think so much of it is just understanding the feeling of Viren in that particular moment, and maybe it's because I'm a dad myself that can really lean into that more than maybe other people. I have 2 kids, and there's just something so incredibly profound, beautiful, and heartbreaking and noble about what he's doing, that I don't know. It kind of led me down to whatever I ended up doing. I don't even remember what the temp was, if it was similar to what I did or if it's something completely different. I feel like I did something very different. And the other thing that I think was first and foremost the most informative thing for me and the most inspiring is the amount of time it took for him to get to his death. It was a beautifully paced scene that took long. Like you guys gave me time to build it up. This walk he has, that seems to last for forever. Him knowing what's going on. No, none of us really know at this point. It's kind of we're a little bit in the dark, although we all kind of sense it hearing the music. I remember it was just a beautifully paced moment that let me explore this slow build up to this really poignant moment. I think the whole scene is like 2 minutes long, which is for a half-hour animation show rare. You get to really milk a moment like that. Usually it's like, get to the point, cut it, die, let him die, and move on to the next scene. And you kind of have to squish. I always tell people, TV animation music is like a compressed feature film. Like you take an entire feature and you just go, okay, here's the whole thing in 24 minutes, make it work. But that moment it felt like feature editing. Like you really had time to get there. And I always try to include as many humanly played instruments in moments like this, because that's ultimately where all the emotion is coming from. I can do only so much with my electronic mock-ups and my, the instruments I have at my disposal in my computer. They sound fine and they do the job, but at the end of the day, if you put this one humanly played violin on top of it, and that player, by the way, is informed of what's going on. I always make sure that everybody who plays on every scene knows exactly what it's about without spoiling anything or being too specific. But emotionally, they're in that headspace when they're performing it. And I believe in this particular cue, there was a beautiful violin or cello piece that accompanied the piano. And that's what brings it home. It's that additional human element that somebody brought to that really, makes it stick the landing and get the music to the finish line, so it has the most profound emotional impact. And how the music itself comes up is just kind of a mystery to myself. I'm just in here experimenting, playing stuff, and then suddenly I'm onto something, and then I just develop it. And yeah, it kind of comes out of me. It's hard to explain. I don't think I can pinpoint it, and there's no method to the madness, so to speak. Like I start with the note C and then I go to A and I'll see what happens next. It's not like that at all. It's like I feel something and then I play it, and then I start layering things on top, and then I kind of, okay, this can now go here. It's sort of an evolving process. Depending on how I start, it just builds out of that and triggers more things inside of me that then lead to the finish of the piece. It's kind of like that. I don't know if that makes any sense. Long answer to a short question.
That's great.
Cool. I was just going to ask really quick, is there any technology either one of you guys have gotten in the last 8 years since we started this that has like changed the game for you on either the art or the music side, where it's like, oh yeah, now I can just do this and it's super fast or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, computers in general, I think it's probably in the visual sense too. I'm sure Andy can confirm it's similar for them as it is for me. Computers are so powerful now. I used to have multiple computers that are daisy chained together with multiple audio interfaces all hooked up, and you would have daily tech issues just because of the complexity of these systems. And that's completely taken out of the equation. I have a Mac Studio now, which is a box this big, and it's infinitely more powerful than anything I've ever had. And I have everything in my software, which is Logic Pro from Apple, and it's all in there, and it runs like it's never run before. It's super smooth. It can load. I still have I don't know how much headroom I even have. I haven't even gotten close to pushing it to the limit yet, because I have it's so powerful. So all these, I mean, that's the first and foremost, the biggest change for me was just having that power under my sequencer, that I can just load everything that I want in there without having to ever compromise ever again on, okay, can't load more violins, we're maxed out. You know what I mean? I can just do it and do it the way I want to. On top of that, the audio technology in particular, first of all, I'm not using anything AI related. That's one thing I'm staying away from as far as I can, for multiple reasons. But what we have is a whole bunch of cool audio tools that can pitch things down, slow things up. You can sample things, and what that means is I play a note on one of these, and then I put it into the system, where then I can map out that one note over my entire keyboard, and I can play it like a keyboard, that one sound. That's called sampling. That's something that technology has also simplified heavily, so it's easy to do now. I can just do that in 5 minutes. I have my own little instrument that I built. So yeah, I mean, the technology tools are amazing, and sonically they sound better than ever. You used to, when you process audio, it used to sound worse. You used to hear artifacts. It would distort the original good quality of it. That's almost not the case anymore for most things that I do. So it's a wonderful environment to mess around with because you have all these cool little tools to do on top of fabulous musicians. So how is
Cool.
it for the visual side?
Um, there's definitely some technological like upgrades and updates, but I think on our little area, oddly enough, because the show, everything we're going for, like the backgrounds are more of a hand painted feel, and a lot of the designs is a more nuanced, like kind to like more traditional type designs and aesthetics, and those are more like handcrafted nuanced things. So, and a lot of the times, the technology that the industry pushed to evolve, it's more for the getting things more realistic and getting things more polished and refined from like a more mathematical kind of way. And in a lot of ways, a lot of times the things that we need to do is actually almost like tell the computer stop and actually input more human artistic decision element to it. So in a way, the things that in the sheet or the big Disney studio, the stuff like that, they push for the technology, which is most of the digital package, is catered to those like big Pixar films, and those are not the look that we're going for. So in some way, there are a lot of technological advancement, but I think elements of it that we have taken, and it's applicable to our universe, but a lot of it, because it is so handcrafted, is so nuanced. So in some way, there are some advancement, and also just the nature of doing 7 seasons of things. But I wouldn't say there's a huge gap. Now coming to the Dragon King, I won't go down the full technological explanation, but definitely, like, I think we have seen like our this latest experience working on like those two teasers have had a lot of advancement in the sense that I think we push the lighting more, and the how fast we can see the lighting, that the result of it, which give us more iterations and how quickly we can adjust things, and you guys can see what I adjusted much quicker than before, and I think that essentially allows the quality to go much higher because of that reason, that we're not running. We might have the same timeline, but we're able to do each of the iterations much faster, and show you guys much quicker. That allows the almost more organic, and I think that does allow it to be a higher quality, and specifically from the lighting point of view, I would say.
I saw a
Yeah, that
specific
makes
question
sense.
in the chat about my back, how I became a composer. I don't know. Should I be answered? Should I?
Yeah, go for it, Freddie.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So since somebody asked that in particular, um, I'm one of those really strange people that knew what they wanted to do at age 12, and I've never wanted to do anything else, and I've just pursued that from that point on. And it was, I think, the first film music CD I had was Dances with Wolves by John Barry, which to this day I hold to, I think, in my top three scores that I love. But yeah, I've been composing since then, and learned a lot of composition and jazz when I was a teenager. And back then, there was only one college that offered that as a major, which was Berklee College of Music in Boston. So I went there and did my bachelor as fast as I could because just wanted to start working. So I think I did my bachelor in 2 years, I think, and then went to LA and just started to assist a bunch of composers, and then went straight into writing myself. So it's been like a tunnel vision project for me since a very young age, and I don't know how to do anything else. So I hope this works out for me for longer.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if there's anything else in the chat. We're running out of time here in a minute, but maybe I guess one thing we didn't cover at all, Freddie, was maybe talk about the orchestra a little bit. I mean, I know we don't get to do it all the time, but getting to play with getting to compose and use a big orchestra.
This goes back to what I said earlier about how human things can bring out more than anything else, and this is so true. It's like the sample technology has improved so much. You can create an amazing orchestral mock-up that sounds very convincing, but then putting that in front of 80 people and letting them play it is it's just a whole different world. It's just so much different and better, and suddenly you get the goosebumps that you didn't get before. And it's the same music, same notes, but there's something about humans doing it that just adds all that emotion to the music that is often so needed. And we get to do it on a handful of important moments throughout the series, and every time we do it, it's a treat for me, and hopefully for the audience too, because it just elevates everything by so much. There's a whole science behind having humans play something versus a computer, and it's emotional. You can see that this is why art is meant to be created by humans and not by anything else, because music is the prime example that's what gives you the feels at the end of the day, and nothing else. And it's so another composer once compared like hearing your piece for the first time played by an orchestra is like watching your child being born. It's a little extreme, but there is similarities to it. I didn't imagine it could be this beautiful kind of feeling as a creator when you see it for the first time live. It's probably similar to having a really good animatic and then watching the lighting for the first time. You go, wow, that came out great. I would imagine that's very similar to that. The animatic's fine. It tells a story. It's good, but just now it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, it's like the first time you see something come back and you're like, oh my God, this is so much better than what I expected, or is different and awesome in a way I didn't expect is really, really cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine Schindler's List with the violin being played by a computer? I mean,
right.
No one would have cried, honestly. Like I would have been like, yeah, okay, interesting.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You needed that person that has a connection to this topic, that knows what's going on, to bring out the heartstrings. It's just there's no other way to describe it. Music is such a weird thing. It's like it's air, right? It's moving air. You can't touch it. It's untangible, but it makes you sad. It makes you happy. It makes you feel good. It makes you exhilarated. It can do all these things, and that's what makes it so fascinating to me. It's this weird force, but it does so much to people.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we've had it since humanity existed, in every culture in some shape or form.
Totally.
I don't know. I always say to design team or just talking to people, like I think when we complete our visual, like that's really 50%. It's really not until we actually hear it with the proper music and score it really completed the other 50% of it. Like it's like all the senses, right? You're storytelling all the senses, and I think the music. We can have a very beautifully lit render scene, but really without the music to trigger that emotion, like it really doesn't feel complete. Like I remember like the first time you guys sent me from Dragon Prince, like season 1, the first time we hear the score, we're like, oh, okay, we know what it is now. Like we thought we knew, like we were designing to the script, to how you guys describing to the exploration we've done. Like we thought, hey, we're doing pretty cool stuff, and then, but like every single show, like it's really until I hear what the score is, it maybe I love music score, like movie scores and stuff, like really until I hear what the score sounds like, then I really truly know what I'm supposed to design, like often, like what the world should look like. And I and some shows we don't have the luxury to hear at least like part of the score, or like the conception of the score that early. Sometimes like it's an after, not an afterthought, but like as the designers or art director, we may not have that tool to us exposed to it that early on. But I remember you guys have shown us like the early like work in progress pretty like pretty early on, and yeah, I think when we heard it, like we know, and yeah, I think that helps tremendously.
I find that a very interesting aspect of filmmaking, isn't it? Especially in animation, because none of us. I feel like sometimes we all work in a vacuum. Like I'm looking at unlit animation because it's just not done
Yeah.
by the time I work on it. You don't have really. You have maybe a temp score that some editor
Yep.
put in.
Yeah, but me and the editor sitting there like, hey, let's
Yeah.
find the thing in the episode that I think that it's in the right zone. Then that's
and it's
it.
like a placeholder. It's far from perfect. It's often sometimes even wrong. And you're like working in that, and you're like, I think this is gonna be beautiful and big. And I'm doing the same. I'm like, I think this will look like a beautiful wide shot of the whatever landscape. I think, and we all just use that little bit of expertise and experience to build that up in our mind of what it will be. And then when it all comes together,
and trust.
yeah, there it is. But it's often like that. And I think this is when experience just pays off, because you need to be able to see those things when they're not really there yet. Because the production can't wait for everybody to finish their job before doing it all. Or, I can't score the whole episode in animatic stage. So you have the full score and then redo everything again. There's no time to do all that back and forth, especially on a TV schedule. So it's fascinating. And every time I'm at the mix, I'm like, damn, that looks great. And I wish I had seen that sooner, but it is what it is, and you need to just know and have imagination. And
I think that's the key. I was about to say. I think that's why I think human imagination it's gonna be pretty important to to build things like this. I think.
Yeah.
Well, cool guys. Thank you so much. This has been an awesome meeting. I really appreciate it. Spending the time with everybody and answering the questions. And these guys are both monster talents. Look up everything they work on because it's amazing. They've both worked on all kinds of crazy stuff. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was gonna say, before we close though, did we want to ask about any special instruments that will be in?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Freddie finds inspiring and Dragon King like, and why?
So honestly, anything goes in this world. But the one thing I have used a tiny bit in season 1 through 7 is this really unique instrument. Let's hope we don't have any technical issues here. Let me see if it works. So there is this. I have this really cool instrument here. It's called a GuitarViol, and what it is basically a guitar that you can bow with a cello bow. Okay, it's got frets just like a guitar. It's got 6 strings like a guitar, but the fretboard is arched like this, and so this is why you can play it with a bow, and you can play these chords that are, that come from your guitar vocabulary. Let me make sure. Let me see why I can't hear that right now. Hold on 1 second, guys. Technical problems. Sorry, give me a beat. I can probably showcase it without the amplifier too. But essentially what it is I don't know if you guys can hear this, so tell me if you can. But if you're a guitar player, which I'm sure a lot of you have some basic guitar skills, most people have learned it at some point. You could take an A minor chord, for example, and then you can bow it like this. Right? Or E major. It's a very interesting sound. You can play melodies. And it kind of sounds like a steel cello of some kind, but you can't quite put your finger on it, which is really exciting to me. On top of that, it's got a pickup like an electric guitar, so you have a little cable coming out of here, and you can send it through any guitar amps and any pedals and any effects that you want to make something really, really fun. So I feel like this is an interesting one. I definitely want to get into deeper in the Dragon King, because because I think it's got a lot of mileage in terms of sound creation that might be really cool to explore. So yeah, GuitarViol. One guy in the world makes these custom, so you can buy it on Amazon.
Wow, that's super cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, thank you, everybody. Again, check out Freddie, check out Andy. They both have done amazing stuff beyond the Dragon Prince. I mean, I know it's beyond the Dragon Prince, but you can still go look at it. You know, we can still be the favorite, but they have done other things. So they both have long and very storied careers. So check it out. It's great to see everybody. There'll be more digital meetings coming up. So look for the news on that stuff. And as always, we will check out the chat afterwards to see if we missed anything. And thank you all so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Is there also encouragement? Anyone here who has not filled out their survey, right? Have we encouraged yeah, Justin?
Please fill out your survey.
Yeah, fill out your survey.
Yes.
But yes, next digital crew meeting will hopefully be coming up, be announced very soon. And we'll get in a flow with some updates about what we're pursuing, how we're pursuing it, what we're building in terms of the Luna Deverins short, in terms of the Barius short, some of the other stuff, the OGN, some updates like that. So hopefully we'll have more substantial updates soon. But it's great to get together with everyone and have these conversations. It's very inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. See you soon. Have a great day.
Be Wednesday.
All right.
Bye, everybody.